Broadway. This is a live edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you on Power Talk. Thank you so much for making us part of your day today, wherever you are in this great world. Without further ado, it's an honor to bring in somebody who I think before coronavirus was working it out on the bandstand pretty much nightly, trying to develop her own individual sound and her own voice, and doing it in an age when technology has given us the opportunity to perfect things, but that doesn't necessarily make them better. Ultimately, my show is about tuning to your heart, learning to trust your intuition and instinct, and basically playing or pushing yourself into areas that you're not necessarily comfortable in, because as we know in life, that's the only way that you will truly grow. Sarah Perotta, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. Is that an accurate assessment of your point of view as a musician?
Yeah, well, which part of it?
Yeah, no.
Perfecting things in technology or coming from your heart and your intuition?
The idea of well, I guess just first off, just how often were you on the bandstand before COVID?
Yeah, well, I was actually in the studio. I've been working on a record. This is my fourth album, and I have Jerry Marotta, who's a world famous drummer, and he's been producing this record. So we've actually we were playing a bit, but we were just putting a band together and getting ready to finish this album and release it. So we were kind of at the beginning stages of releasing a record, finishing a record and releasing it when Corona hit. So now we are trying to figure out how we're going to release it, and in this whole new world that we're in.
Yeah, I should have sent you. I'll send it to you after the interview. I've done 2 hours of interviews with Rick Marotta, so I need to get to.
Awesome!
I need to get to Jerry still. So you let him know I'm looking for him. I mean,
okay.
Sarah. I mean, you're awesome. You're just like any other cat in this day and age, like just trying to make stuff up as you go along. But I really just want to be honest. So you've made 4 albums in the past.
This is my fourth album. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you create this product, you create tunes, on the album. In the past, someone like Edgar Winter, like that, I don't know who Jerry toured with, but like Rick, for instance, it would be, Edgar Winter would make an album, then you'd go on tour, you'd promote the album, you'd lose money on the tour. But because the album was selling so many records, it didn't even matter. That was in the old paradigm. But I want you to push back on me and justify how these songs can take on a life of their own. If you can, do they just sit on the shelf, or are you able to actually get out? Again, this is all before this, the whole thing is insane. But how do you allow the songs to breathe? I mean, I understand it's beautiful to create content. I'm the last person to be. I mean, I love that stuff. I've done 2,000 interviews. I just published my 3rd book, and it's taken 10 years to get this stuff out of my system. How, as a musician, do you get this stuff out of your system after you record it?
It's a good question. I mean, I think that for now, it's really about connecting with people, and now we're in this different age of connecting with people and figuring out how we can connect without actually having a live concert. Or I guess I saw a thing online the other day that the Flaming Lips are doing bubble concerts, so the audience is going to be encapsulated in bubbles.
Some of this, I just want to stop you there. I mean, like I'm with you. Like I couldn't think of a. Like when I go see music, I want to be up front, in front of the speaker stacks. Like I want Sarah Perotta's sweat to be hitting me in the face while I heal. I understand. There's like, I also believe that, I know we're going all over the place, but it's like I just feel like music was made. If you go back to the earliest roots, it was made for healing. The shamans would heal through music. And music for me, the last couple years primarily, has become about healing dis-ease. So these drive-in concerts, these bubble concerts, I couldn't think of a more. I understand people want to do it for the sake of doing it, and clearly people have to make a living. But as a patron, it's not
Yeah.
worth. It's the most unappealing thing. Anyway,
I understand.
before you didn't make 4 albums in a year, but I mean, can you talk about the most satisfying feeling of being able to? My feeling is songs you can stay in the studio all you want. You can get stuff till it's perfect now. You can wring all the soul out of it. But at the end of the day, the songs come to life when you get with a touring band and you feel comfortable with those people and there's a trust and a telepathy and the songs take on a life of their own. Can you harken back to a time in your career when that manifested?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Many times I feel like that's the whole synthesis of music is being able to play with people and getting to those deep places where you can express emotion and you just feel that connection with your audience and with your bandmates. And it's I don't know, I feel like it's one of the reasons I can't stop playing music is because I feel like it's this really deep way of connecting with people, and it fulfills something in myself that I need. Like it's like fuel for me. It's like eating and sleeping and these human needs. For me, music is a human need,
Absolutely.
for connecting.
Oh.
For connecting, and I think it is a spiritual place that you go to. I think it's like connecting with other people on this higher level where we really feel unified and all of our differences are washed away and we really feel like we're all connected to each other.
Like I said, can you personalize it on? I mean, have you been able to tour a particular album and be able to get that experience? I mean, I have been operating in the spirit mind for quite some time. I am not a musician. This is all about leaders. This is about love, and to me, it's like there are so many cats. You know, they'll come. The younger, my peers. I'm 42 and younger, where they're like, "Yeah, I'm in the studio." It's like, great. Like, do you know that? I mean, back when music made sense at one time, you had 3 hours to cut an album, and then it was onto a jingle, and then a commercial, and then another record date. I mean, the idea was you hit it once. The first or the second take was the best. But now you're in the studio. But can you talk about a time when you were able to take your life force and get it onto a legitimate upstate New York touring circuit, Midwest, where you were able to allow these songs to come to life?
Yeah, well, I've honestly, I haven't been playing out and touring a whole lot lately.
I didn't know.
I have two small.
Yeah, I don't mean lately. I mean, just can you talk about the transcendent experience of being able to, at a time in your career, and you can say this has never happened, but I mean, the only way you can truly make money in music today, outside of being, you know, some dialed up person who has a bunch of Twitter followers, is road dogging it. So can you just talk about that
Right.
experience if you've had that?
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of it. I mean, I've played a lot of local shows, and I've done some international touring. Like I did a blues cruise kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I've played mostly in the Northeast. I've never done like a road tour where I toured across the whole country or anything like that. I've just kind of played the gigs that I could get.
Sure.
when
No,
I
I mean,
could get them.
what was the longest regional tour, and can you talk about that experience? You know what it is? I just, I feel, and I'm not speaking about you specifically. It's just there is this idea. It's very vexing to me that people can create these albums, and again, this is all pre-COVID. I understand that, but it just, I mean, whatever. Maybe it's not something that's a priority for you, but I don't know. I just was wondering if you could talk about being on the bandstand on a consistent basis. I don't care that you didn't go across the country, but what, you know, if you felt like there was potentially really a lot of room and magic to grow in, or is that an area that you want to push yourself to do more of when it's safer?
yeah, I definitely feel like it's something I want to continue to develop. I always feel connected to my audience, and I love that. I love that feeling of feeling like like my music can stir a room and it can awaken something in my audience and have them feel moved emotionally, and and hopefully create some kind of catharsis for people. I mean, that's what I aim for, is to connect with them. I feel also like, I mean, you can say that you're going into the studio, you're just perfecting something, but this experience with this new record that I'm about to release, I feel like it's been this really amazing experience to be connecting with myself and connecting with the producer, and really delving deep inside myself to bring these songs to life. And it's not necessarily about perfecting them, but it's about how deep I can go into my emotions and into these songs, and how I can bring them to life and create sounds that
That you didn't know you could make?
yeah, or that just support the song, and that bring it to these new levels, and trying different things, and then feeling like maybe that doesn't work, and then going in different directions, and just this whole creative process of creating an album. I don't know, it hasn't felt like this sterile thing to me.
No, no, no. I mean, that's, it's just, and maybe you don't have to, maybe you don't have to worry about singing for your supper, so to speak. I mean, that, um, but I don't understand how you can, um, you know, I mean, musicians before COVID were already part of the working poor. The only way
Yeah,
that like you could make money is by road dogging it. So
yeah.
maybe you don't have to do that, and that's a beautiful thing.
Well,
But
I'm
I
kind
don't.
of like hanging on by a thread,
Yeah, we all are. I mean,
just like
I mean, at this point,
figuring it
we
out.
absolutely. I mean, first of all, and I applaud you for like accessing your multidimensional self, and I think like, you know, um, there is no roadmap. So, my question: do you have, and as you gear up for this release, I mean, are you getting emotionally prepared for sort of not having any expectations, but just the intention of wanting to touch people's hearts?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all that there is. I feel like I'm this I feel like I've been in the moment for this whole record too. I've been like not feeling, well, I've been tempering this feeling of like wanting to get things done and wanting to get things out, and this has been a slow process of finishing this body of work. So I've kind of just surrendered to the fact that, like, I don't know when it's going to be released, and I really don't know how it's going to be released now that the coronavirus is happening.
Well,
But
how would it have been done pre-coronavirus?
pre-coronavirus, we would have gotten a tour together. I was starting to map out a tour that we were going to do, and we were getting this really hot band together, and we were starting to rehearse, and we were playing a few local shows, and we were gearing up to release the record. And then this happened, and we haven't rehearsed since. We've been still finishing up the record, but I haven't continued to rehearse the band because I don't have a map of exactly what we're going to do.
You mean as far as
So
like
yeah,
where the idea of just rehearsing, not just for the sake of rehearsing, but just, what's the next step after that, or has it been an issue of just distance and safety?
yeah. Well, some of the players don't live in the state, or they live farther away. So I don't know. It's just
I dig. I mean, it's a
it's
quandary. Listen,
tricky.
and you're not the only cat by far that is trying to negotiate this absolute tragedy on so many levels.
Hmm.
I believe that in very much divine timing, and I think we connected for a reason. We have a game on this program called Name That Voice. I don't expect you to know who it is, but just pay attention to the content. We'll come back and break it down.
Okay.
Spiritual thing is basically when you're playing, and it's just not bebop. This is other music too, but bebop is in jazz is probably that's the high end of what we do as jazz musicians. But just the spirituality comes from it's like something. Now this may sound abstract, but it's something that Wayne Shorter said to me one time. He said that the only way you can really, really, really play is that you have to go to the store and buy some milk for your grandmother. You know, when he said that to me and the drummer Omar Hakim, now he had a few drinks, a few old drinks.
Right.
I said, "Wow!" But a couple days later, it hit me, you know, because you know it's like to come if you have one of those kind of families, you go to see your grandmother. She says, "Go to the store and get me some milk," and you go there. There's a love. There's a love for something other than just what you're looking at. It's like your own personal love, which could come from God, which could come from the force of life. It could be whatever it is that you think makes you tick. Mm-hmm. That if you tap into that, whatever that is, it's not a material. It's not the instrument. It's not the notes. It's the life force. And that is very, when you operate on that band, that's or on that frequency in life, that is very spiritual.
Sarah Perotta, do you want to take a guess at who that is?
I have no idea, but I really love what he was saying.
That was my, I found my voice because of, even though I haven't interviewed Jerry, but that generation of cats have helped me find my voice on the radio. That was my first interview from September of 2014 with Stanley Clark. I don't know if you know who Stanley, okay, his bass player. And I really wanted you to talk about a time in your career when you were able, what basically Wayne Shorter was saying was, they were a little bit buzzed, but I mean, he was like, if you really want to play truly spiritual music, doesn't matter what genre, it's like going to the store to get your grandma some milk, and it's this devotion.
It's like a service of gratitude.
It is a service to mankind. It is something, and then when you all on the bandstand are able to operate on that frequency, then it becomes transcendent. And I wanted you to talk about a time in your career when that happened.
It's funny because I feel like that's, I feel like that's, it's something that can happen all the time. It's hard to pinpoint like one exact moment of going to the store and getting my grandmother some milk.
Yeah, I guess a time when we're talking about people that are, iconic figures in music that can go there and say that and these are in some cases, Billy Cobham, people like that, they've never really done any drugs in their life, but yet, after full fatigue and exhaustion on a tour, they could see themselves on the side of the stage playing. They were out of body. Mm-hmm. Have you been out of body before? Can you talk about being out of body?
Yeah, I feel like as soon as I start to sing, as soon as I start to play music, I feel like I'm tapping into another part of myself.
Right? Really? Okay. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is, maybe not right away. I don't know. I just feel like as soon as I start playing music, I'm tapping into another frequency, and it's different than just talking to you on the phone. Like as soon as I start singing or playing, I feel like I can get myself into that emotional place, and then it can go deeper than that, and it can transcend, and that's why I keep doing it.
I mean, the key here is that in conversation, it's not just you, it's with other people, and I was just kind of hoping you could talk about a band.
Yeah,
a band.
I mean, I hope that I feel like I'm connecting with other people. I feel that, and there's no way of really, I guess, knowing for sure if you're connecting with everybody. And I'm sure there's some people that I'm not connecting with them, and then others that I really am. But when people tell me at the end of a concert that they were like moved to tears or that they felt uplifted, and when they like they show me with their faces and their words that I was able to connect with them, and that feels validating.
I was talking more about not the audience. The idea of having the sacred trust on the bandstand with other cats, when you can take the music to a place that is never where it grows, because you're all operating on that frequency of going to the store to get your grandma some milk. I mean, can you point to a live experience, because you haven't had a ton of live gigs where there was you guys came off the stage laughing or nothing needed to be said? You don't need the verb, you don't need the acknowledgement from the audience. You just, because of the trust you have with a certain chemistry with the band, you're just kind of, you went somewhere that you'd never gone before. Can you give an example?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just sometimes in a rehearsal, you can feel that way, or after a show, after you've played a show and you feel like it was great and it was exciting, and it's hard for me to pinpoint an exact moment.
We don't love platitudes on the Jake Feinberg show. So any personalization would be. I mean, listen. I mean, you've been through. I mean, you've birthed kids. You've been through multidimensional experiences. So music is one of those. But I mean, is there anything that comes to mind that because. It's one thing to, I guess I want to know from my point of view that, not that you don't have responsibilities and you want to take care of things that are important to you, but that music is more than, I mean, you talked about it being, do you believe that music is a life or death thing for you?
Yeah, I do. I feel like if I'm not playing music, if I'm not working on that craft, then I feel empty. Like I just start to feel sad. I feel like this sadness takes over, and so for me, I mean, it's like I feel like it definitely helps me from being depressed. If I play music, then I'm fighting off depression, but also it uplifts me, and it brings like this deeper meaning to my life, and it's so important to me. I can't get away from it. Sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I should. I actually can never feel like I can like do anything else. I feel like this will always be in my life. It is like a spiritual practice for me, and something that I'm really devoted to.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm talking to Sarah Perotta here on the Jake Feinberg show. I guess the other thing is you need to be in the moment, and like for extended periods of time, do you have how do you a lot of times, like with kids, it's very hard to to focus on because like my daughters, I want to devote quality time to them. They also know when I'm not fully there, and so like how do you genuinely have enough free time with young kids to be able to get to a point where you feel satisfied that you're able to liberate yourself through the music?
Yeah, lately I have not been feeling that way.
All right. Well,
lately I have my two young boys that are home, and we've been home since March. So I've been home with my boys for like 7 months now, and counting, because their schools are opening, but I'm not going to send them back. Now I'm going to stay home with them because I mean the rates are rising.
Oh no, I agree. 100. How old are they, by the way?
I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yeah, well, it's hard because my oldest is 15 and she's an exceptional student, so she's not having a hard time with the Zoom learning. But those ages are really hard. But I also totally respect your decision because as hard as it is, it's the right thing to do.
it feels like the right thing to do, but it's super hard. And especially, I mean, like my younger son is just learning how to read. He's
Believe me, my,
so
my,
I'm
my, my younger daughter is in third grade. It's like I don't understand how she has exceptional needs, so she needs to go to school. Like she's better
mhm,
off there. But they're supposedly opening the school full
yeah,
bore next week, and I'm like I mean,
right.
she can't stay home. But even a regular cat third grader uh,
Hmm.
would struggle looking at a Zoom camera all day. You know,
Yeah, I know it's horrible. It's like it's all
it's
really
hard.
challenging.
Yeah. So I mean, that is
So I mean, so in the middle of all of that, in the
right.
middle of this insanity, I every day I I force myself to come down to my studio and work on my songwriting and or at least just be in my studio and organize things and just to keep that practice and that discipline. And so I just keep doing it. I just make sure that every day I I have some form of working on my music and expressing myself and working on new ideas, or just finishing up old ideas.
You're able to I don't like do it like your brain doesn't shut down at night. You can do it when they're sleeping or you.
I'm usually exhausted when they're sleeping. So what I do is I feel for me, um, I feel like the morning is usually the best, like a good time for me. I try to find these little pockets of time where they're occupied. So if they're both like fed and comfortable and they're in a Zoom class for a little while and I know that they don't need me for like an hour, then
Yeah,
I'll
right.
come down and I'll just work on stuff as much as I can until I get interrupted again. And it's very slow paced because I'm constantly interrupted, but I figure if I can just keep plugging away a little bit at a time, then um, I can keep building something and I can keep building a momentum. And and I do have this record that's done, and so now we're starting to, I mean, we're starting to shop it around to some record labels and getting all the artwork together, and we're sending it off to get mastered. And then once the album's done, then I mean, I hope that we're looking at some distributors. So if we get a good distributor behind us, then hopefully we can get it out to the world and connect with people and have a team of people that can help to come up with some creative ways of doing that in these strange times.
Um, could you sing a song for us right now?
Right now,
Oh yeah.
um, I what do you? I don't know.
Well,
What do you? What do you?
something off the new album. I mean, give it even a piece of it. So, I mean, just something to inspire the cats listening around the world.
Um, okay, you're putting me on the spot, but
Welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
let's see. I mean, I usually would sit down at the piano and I'm trying to, I haven't prepared anything. I'm not, I have no idea what I'm going to sing for you.
Good.
Um, do you want me to, uh, um, sorry, I'm not so good at doing stuff on the spot. I
Yeah,
like
well, I
to have
mean,
stuff.
my show is about improv, so I mean, I'd say just give it a whirl, and if it's a train wreck, we'll edit it out, but do the best you can.
Okay. Um, okay, I'm just trying to think of, I just have to choose a song. I'm kind of like going blank for a second. So, do you want me to sing a whole song, or do you want me to just sing a piece of a song?
I want you to do what you feel is most comfortable for you. You know, I mean, something that, preferably something that you can promote the album with.
Okay. All right. So, I guess I would. I actually, I. Okay. So I'll just do this song. This song is called Blue to Gold. So I guess I'll just sing
Fire
a
away.
cappella for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Time stood still when I saw you turn around in the light of the evening. Like doors opening to rooms that were not there. Your mind is shaping them when you follow your vision through. And I can't stay still. My feet are lifting off the ground. I've been dreaming in the dark for too long now. So that's an opening to one of the songs.
You know, I'll tell you, way to go. I know that's, whether or not you're comfortable with it, it's something you're going to learn how to do better and better, and that was beautiful. So,
Thank you. I mean, I usually, if I go on a radio interview or something, people tell me I'm going to play something, and then I have my instrument ready, and I've thought about what I'm going to.
Well, no, I was talking about it because, just because it feeds you spiritually so much, and because we are in these unprecedented times, I thought that allowing you to sing would raise your frequencies a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
So I have another Name That Voice for you. Take a listen to this, and we'll come back.
Okay.
The second L, I wanted you to talk about love, the way you, what do you consider love, and how you bring love to people in your life.
Oh boy, that's a good one. I love that.
You got in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, love to me is what makes everything go around. I think that love created the universe. I think that if you say you do not believe in God, you're an atheist or whatever. I respect that. I think we all need to respect how each other feels about things in life. But for you to say that you don't believe in God, and if you have a little daughter or a little son, and you look in their eyes, you can't tell me that you don't believe in love.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, God is love. So I don't think I need to go any further with that as far as that's concerned. And
mm-hmm.
I also believe that, and especially at this time in the world, of what's going on out there in the world, it's just insane. And we need to hold on to love. We need to hold on to what love is. We need to realize that there's a heavy struggle going on in the world, and I don't think any of us really understand. We don't understand it like we should. But I know one thing for sure, that this world needs love. It always did. Jackie DeShannon said it.
Sarah Perotta, you want to take a guess at who that is?
So again, I have no idea.
It's fine. It's very.
I also love what he was saying.
Yeah, well, I want to give you a flavor for, 2,000 interviews, 10 years into my career. I want to give you a flavor for where I'm going. In fact, I guarantee you, when you talk to Jerry Marotta, next time you do, he's going to laugh, because that was a dear friend of his. That was my first of 5 interviews with Jim Keltner. I don't know if you know who Jim Keltner is, but he is the most recorded drummer probably in the history of American music. He's and a brilliant cat, and somebody who's willing to go there with me. And my question for you is, Sarah, I mean, I believe my intuition and instinct is my true nature, is my strongest true nature, and I try to access that. It's one reason, I can reach out to people and have never personally met them or physically been with them or seen them perform, but I can, we can create inspiring content through dialogue. Yeah. And, but I feel like this gravity of anxiety and angst over the next couple of weeks for obvious reasons. my question for you is it's not what your concept of love is. It is, what are the characteristics of the divine masculine that need to come to the forefront in order for women to trust men again?
I think respect. I think it has a lot to. I think it's all about respect.
Can you give an example of respect? I think respect. People, some people might think that that's just holding a door, saying please and thank you. But what does that look like as it relates to the divine masculine? And
I think it's really just about appreciating each other and appreciating each other's differences, and appreciating that there's lots of different ways to do something, and that not just with men and women, but with all different people, that there's so many different kinds of people, and that that being gentle is not it does not mean that you're not being strong. I think that that's the biggest thing. Being gentle does not mean that you're not strong.
You feel like that is something that's running through that's running through the zeitgeist of our common dialogue these days, that strength needs to be projected through toughness, or you use the word gentle, or just the idea of being nice. Being nice.
Well, that there's like that being kind to people, right, and being gentle and having empathy for others. I think that is the most important thing that we're lacking right now. It's so important, and it's like we're just trashing each other and killing each other, and it's so sad.
It's amazing how quickly we've gotten to this point. I mean, it's been, what has changed? What has been the hardest outside of having the responsibilities of being a mother? I mean, I've devoted a lot of my show lately to, my show's dedicated always to healers, but primarily they've been musical healers, and lately I've been reaching out to other people that do healing in different modalities, and by and large, a lot of them have both feet on the ground, and no matter how big they are or have been in the field of mindful meditation or yoga or body work, whatever it is, some of them, even if they were really caught up in their own lifestyle, have learned to adapt, and other people, I think it's been a reckoning, because whatever they thought, I guess the question is this: when did you recognize, Sarah, that you were merely a conduit for information coming through you? Meaning that when you really have a great session in a rehearsal or on the bandstand, and you said, wow, I don't know what I just did, or I don't know how that happened. When did you realize that you were merely a conduit for the music and not fully responsible for doing it?
I think for me, I think it's more songwriting, and I think it's more going inward than going outward. So for me, it's more like this inward expression when I can just let myself open up, because oftentimes I'll sit down, and actually every time I sit down and I have no idea what I'm going to write about, and I just have all these feelings inside of me that I feel like I need to get out, or sometimes I don't even feel anything, but I know that I want to feel something. And so just usually I'm sitting down at the piano and I just start playing, and then when a melody comes to me or words come to me, and they weren't there before, but somehow they just came to the surface, and I follow it. And I mean, those are moments where I feel like I'm connecting to something that's bigger than myself, and I'm pushing my ego aside, and I'm allowing my life to move through me.
Exactly. I mean, where do you feel um, if if somebody waved a magic wand and um, that whatever the virus just disappeared, or a vaccine came in and everybody took it or whatever, and we went back to some kind of normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
from a musician's point of view, not really a craftsmanship point of view, but I mean, where do you know you need to grow the most in as a musician?
Um, it's probably feeling comfortable on stage and feeling like I can just tap into myself, um, and growing my audience. I think that's where I need to grow, is connecting to other people. I feel like I'm able to connect to myself, and I guess I've always kind of thought if I just keep connecting to myself deeper, then other people will see it and they'll be able to connect to it too. But I think I need to reach out more, and I think actually the coronavirus is kind of making people go even further inward. So this is so
Yeah.
if it when it does let up, then I mean I think it's going to be this unraveling for our whole society of this breath of relief that things can move again, and then we're all going to kind of come out of our shells, and like I think it's going to be probably even more profound. We're all going to feel this in a more profound way because we've all been through this together. So we're all going to be needing that social connection and community even more than we ever have.
Yeah, the last, I mean, I've been pretty prolific on new media. I know a lot of people have problems with, they call it social media, but I don't really receive information. I've just been producing it, and I've been relentless about it. And really, the last couple of years before coronavirus, I was like, why am I traveling across the country, and what am I doing? Like all these Facebook Live interviews with all these musicians, and I'm way off the grid, and I'm way out there. And I realized now that I couldn't predict what was coming, but now I mean, I've always been about trying to build authentic communities using technology, and so I realize now that what I was doing was very much based in this time for this time, and
Yeah.
I feel so grateful to continue to have the radio station on Power Talk available to me to be able to connect with other people, to raise them up as well, and to inspire people, because I don't know what I'd do with my brain without having the connection to so many people from different generations. I know you're just getting hip to my show, but I guess ultimately, there are so many singers and so many songwriters and so many people that have deep, deep life force. But I've gone out of my way to cut through the morass. Part of it is I'm not connected to any kind of corporate entity. I don't have a producer telling me what questions I need to talk to the people about, or any kind of cookie cutter thing or formula trip. And
Mm-hmm.
I just have been able to cut through the morass and been able to, through very unorthodox interviewing style, be able to extract really great information that I transcribe, put into stories, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's nobody, I can honestly say there's nobody doing anything close to what I'm doing in the world. And that doesn't mean I'm basing my success off what society says success is. I just have singularity, uniqueness, and cutting through the morass is essential. So what makes, at this point in your career, what makes you unique?
And I think just being,
Go ahead.
I mean, everybody has to be true to themselves. I think just being true to myself, and I just am unique. Everyone is, I mean, we're all unique.
I mean, when people say Boy, you know,
but
I've never heard a
I don't.
voice.
I
Yeah,
think the main thing is that I don't try to be like anybody else.
right.
I'm just expressing feelings that I feel,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean
and I'm not. I'm
yeah.
not trying.
Let me ask you. I mean, do you not listen to any other? I mean, a lot of very singular musicians don't listen to anything else, any music. They don't want to be influenced by anything else. Is that
Mhm.
is that? Do you feel that way too?
Um, I guess there's like a delicate quality to my voice that is. Diff- I mean, for of then. Well, no, I love the thing is that I that's than other people. No, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
I listen to so much music, and there's so much different. And then I mean, I'm sure I pick things up from other people because I'm listening to them, and we're all sharing a language together. But I try to just be as authentic as I can, and that's my whole craft, is just digging into myself and being as authentic as I can.
No, I dig. I mean, ultimately, you beg, borrow, and steal, whether you know it or not, and then you find your own truth. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to continuing to stay in touch with you. I'll send you those interviews with Rick and a couple of my books. I'd be humbled to get your feedback on them. You know, we're all sort of any creatives, anybody doing anything creative or living life by their own rules. Was there a time in your life, not necessarily musically, where you
When I feel like someone is being authentic, so try to be like any of them. I just try to be as authentic as yeah.
I was just
Oh,
our
hello.
yeah our connection's a little bit spotty. I just wanted to know if there was a time in your life when you stopped living.
Hey, you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you cut out for a moment.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we were going through. You hear me better now? Can you hear me? You there?
Uh,
Are you there?
I keep hearing you start a question and then I don't hear the rest of it. Yes, now I hear you.
Okay, yeah,
So you said, is there a time in your life? Can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you fine.
I am. I am.
I'm
Hello?
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, Sarah.
That's okay. So you said, is there a time in your life?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm sorry about
Okay, good.
that.
So you said, is there a time in your
Is there a
life?
time in your life
That's okay.
when you stopped um, playing by the rules that society says you should play by, and you started to live life by your own rules?
I think I consistently do that. Um, I think I mean, I think I just consistently do that naturally. I just, I'm kind of like my own ship. I'm a little bit stubborn and I'm a little bit of an individual and I like to do things my own way. Um, Probably growing up, like if I think about my childhood, when I was a teenager, I definitely didn't always listen to my parents, and that was probably my first moment of not doing what I was told to do. Um, and now I see it in my children, so I'm getting some karma back there.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's really going to be a fun evolution. Sarah, let's do set two um, uh, in the not too distant future, and after your album comes out, and we'll go a little bit deeper. But it's really it's really great to connect with you, and um,
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time. I mean, that's the most important thing. And
Yeah, sorry if I clammed up a little bit when you asked me to sing something.
what
I
are you
wasn't
talking
sure.
about? You're great. No, I mean, I think when you, um, you know, I mean, this is a heavy show, and you're a heavy cat, so don't ever change. And I guess adaptability is essential. And always, but just keep your love light on, and keep your always lead with your heart, because that in these times, especially if things don't go the way people are hoping they go,
Right. I
it
know we need to get stronger.
much stronger, Sarah. And you're a very strong cat. So yeah, we'll be in touch, and I'll have this up online later today. So bless you, my friend.
Okay, thank you so much.
Later on.
Bye.
Bye. Sarah Perotta, gifted young musician.